Okay, we're going.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So welcome to our July the 23rd letting seminar. People are still coming in. We're recording this, so hopefully for those who are not able to join us live, they'll be able to watch the recording to get the information a little bit later. So we'll send this out. So again, welcome. My name is Sam Ghostin. I am the director for the Mentor-Protege Program, and for this week's letting seminar, we'll jump right in. Just a few housekeeping rules. Remember, if you're not talking, just to keep down on the background noise, just to mute your microphone. That way we won't have any background noise there as we go through. You can raise your hand or post questions in the chat. We'll be monitoring both if you have a comment or a question. So we want to make sure we get all those answered before we leave. So we'll go quick introductions of supportive services. Then Ms. Ondoxson will talk about some of the letting information for this month. We're fortunate to have Mr. Whitman here from Mobile Asphalt. He'll give us some of his insights. Then Ms. Mcgee will talk from the Alabama Career Centers. And then we'll make some announcements, open it up again for questions and comments, and then hopefully get you out of here pretty soon with some valuable information. Next slide, please. So this is the monthly letting seminar, which is a collaboration between the supportive services of ALDOT. The manager is Ms. Walter Carr. And Ms. Michelle Moore, they're DBE Supportive Services. Their numbers are there. Therefore, if we look at the Mentor-Protege Program, you'll be hearing from some of us today. Ms. Christine Lewis is our program administrator. We owe it to her for organizing and making sure that these seminars go according to plan each month. So thanks to Ms. Lewis. Ms. Ondoxson will talk, our project coordinator will be talking about some of our letting seminar. Mr. Taylor is one of our subject matter experts. And then I'm just on the team. They let me stay around if I introduce them each month. Next slide, please. The DB Supportive Services, we're welcome to have them on the line. I'll go ahead and introduce them. They may introduce themselves later on if they have some announcements. I hadn't seen Alabama A&M. They may have came on. We have Ms. Barnes, Ms. Taylor, or Ms. Sterling, excuse me, and Ms. Douglas. We have EEO Network Solution. I've seen Ms. Matlock on the line, and UWA, we have Ms. Mills and Ms. Stoudemire on the line. I'm not quite sure if the other ones are on the line. So the purpose, and we all work together pretty well to make sure DBEs have everything that they need to be successful. So if you are in one of these coverage areas, just reach out to your supportive services to see what resources are available. We'll be going over some of those today, but that's kind of the purpose of the DBE supportive services. Also there for prime contractors who may be looking for DBEs, they can reach out to those coverage areas to get a list of the DBEs who may be available within those areas. So please make note of this slide and let us know where we can support you in your endeavors to become successful. Next slide, please. Ms. Ondoxson will now come on to present some of the, she'll highlight some of the lettings for this month's seminar next Friday. If you're trying to bid, the purpose is that on this call, you should have everything you need to make sure you can get a bid in for next Friday. Ms. Ondoxson.
Thanks, Dr. Golston. We've got several projects highlighted this month. There are some very large projects on the letting this month, two in South Alabama, in Mobile and Baldwin counties. So we are going to start first with Lawrence County. Next slide. Christine, are you there? There we go. Our first project is in Lawrence County. There's a 2% DBE goal. This is a bridge replacement. Bracket estimate is from $3 to $4 million. Our work types are a lot of the ones that we see that our DBEs are performing. There is demolition, there's erosion control, hauling. There is bituminous scoring on this project, steel reinforcement, and guardrail work. The tentative bidders are most of the major bridge builders in the state. You'll see them listed there. There are a lot of bidders on this project. So if you're a DBE doing any of the work types that we've highlighted, I would contact all of these and get your bids in. There are 2 bidders from Tennessee, Bell and Associates and Wright Brothers. I do not know a lot about them, but I'm sure that most of you have the contacts for the Alabama bridge builders. If you do not, we can put you in touch with them. Next slide. Project 14 is in Tuscaloosa County. It has a 3% DBE goal. Bracket estimate is $5 to a little over $6 million. You see the work types there. Most of the ones that we see for the DBEs. There's also bituminous scoring on this one, and there's also storm sewer work on this. So if you're a utility contractor, this would be a good project to look at. Your bidders, ST Bunn, Mid-South, and GFC Construction, which they have bid a couple of jobs on this letting. I'm not that familiar with them, but if anyone is interested in getting a bid to them, we will try to get a contact for you. Next slide. Project 20 is in Greene County. It has a 2% DBE goal. Bracket estimate is just a little over $1 million. It has demolition, hauling, steel reinforcement, guardrail, and erosion control for DBEs. Your tentative bidders, Bridge Builders of Alabama, Murphy Bridge, and Newell and Bush. Next slide. Project 42 is in Jefferson County. It has a 6% DBE goal. Bracket estimate is a little over $5 to $6.5 million. The work types include bituminous scoring, steel reinforcement. There is quite a bit of pipe work on this for any utility contractors. There's a lot of concrete work on this project. So if you're a concrete DBE, I would encourage you to look at this project. Guardrail and erosion control. The tentative bidders are a lot of the bidders that you see bidding in that mid-Alabama, Jefferson County area. Dunn Construction, John Plott, Mid-South, Carcel and G. Next slide. Project 43 is in Tuscaloosa County. This is one of the large projects on the letting this month. There's a 3% DBE goal. This is a $22.5 to $27.5 million bracket estimate on this project. So I would encourage all DBEs to get bids to these tentative bidders. Work types, there are numerous work types on this project that DBEs could bid. There's a lot of demolition, there's hauling, there's steel reinforcement, bituminous scoring. There's quite a bit of fencing on this project. If there is a DBE that does fencing, this would be a very good project to look at. There's guardrail, a lot of concrete work, a lot of pipe work for utility contractors, and erosion control. Your bidders, ST Bunn, Icaros, John Plott, Mid-South, GFC Construction, Carcel and G, and Wright Brothers, who are out of Tennessee. Next project. 44 is in Mobile County. It only has a 1% DBE goal, but it is a high value project. 21.6 to 26.4 is the bracket estimate. You see the work types there. The tentative bidders, John G. Walton, H.O. Weaver, and Mobile Asphalt. And Mr. John Whitman is on the line with us and going to speak to us in just a little bit. He is with Mobile Asphalt, and they are bidding this project and our next project, which is Project 46. That's in Baldwin County. It does not have a DB Eagle on it, but I included it because it is such a large project. It's about 34 million to 41 million is the bracket estimate. So I would think that this project's, you know, going to need everybody that the prime contractor can get to get this project completed, since it's so large. So even if you're a DBE, I would, you know, bid this just as a regular sub. There's demolition, hauling, bituminous scoring, steel reinforcement, concrete, guardrail, erosion control, and there's a great deal of fencing in this project also. You see the tentative bidders: Newell Road Builders, Scott Bridge, McInnes, W.G. Yates and Sons, that is a company out of Mississippi, John G. Walton, H.O. Weaver, Jensen Construction, which is a company out of Iowa, and Mobile Asphalt. And I believe that is my last project. It is. Next, we do have Mr. John Whitman with Mobile Asphalt Company. He has joined us a couple of times, and he has graciously agreed to talk to us a little bit today. Mr. Whitman, I'm going to open it up to you. And if you want to talk about those projects you guys are bidding, or if you just, whatever you would like to share with us today, we would be happy to hear it.
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me. It's good for me to, you know, a lot of times I just focus on the Southwest region and what's in our area. But when I get to talk to you guys, I try to look at the state and see what's going on here and there, and kind of get a feel for where the work is, and for these purposes where the DB participation is kind of keen. So I'll just make a few remarks on the statewide letting. The projects you covered obviously are the big guys. Looks like there are 4 what we call capacity projects were the big ones. 14, 42, 43, and 44. That's additional lanes on I-2059 in Tuscaloosa, additional lanes on 38 in Mountain Brook, additional lanes on 82 in Northport, and then additional lanes on I-10 in West Mobile. So that's pretty much the letting. The project in Baldwin County is a big bridge going over the Intercoastal Canal. It's got a sizable amount of grading and asphalt in it, but it's definitely a bridge project. But focusing on DBE, so all the projects listed, there's several projects in this letting that don't have any DB participation. They're the small safety guardrail type projects. But the projects that do have DB participation, based on my math, equal about $1.6 million worth of DB participation that will be bid out next Friday. Out of the 1.6 million, 93% of it are in those 4 big capacity projects, with the largest being the Project 43 in Tuscaloosa County. That one looks like that's the project on 82 in Northport. That looks like about $750,000 of DBE. So that's the big one for the state as far as where all the participation is coming from. Looking at that, what you hit on in Tuscaloosa County, I was just looking at the quantities. Looks like there's a sizable culvert on that project, a lot of curb and gutter, and a lot of erosion control. So I know when we're bidding the project, that's kind of where we're focusing on DBE contractors would be on those big 3 ones. That culvert's big. I don't know if it's probably enough to cover the entire DBE obligation on that project. So anyway, those are the big 4, 93% of the DBE participation. That's about $1.5 million of DBE will be subcontracted on those 4 projects. On our project, Mobile County, that is widening I-10 additional lanes in the median to give us 3 lanes westbound, 3 lanes eastbound on the west side of Mobile, and it's desperately needed. It's we have a lot of traffic to and from Moss Point, and then just to the shipping yards over there, and then just regular interstate traffic on the I-10 corridor. Looking at it, it's only 1% DBE, which, if the job falls in the bracket, that would be about $250,000 of DBE for Mobile County. And it's a pretty straightforward job. A lot of this is going to be self-performed by the prime or by the subs, the primary grading subs, the primary concrete subs. There's a lot of barrier wall that's going up in the middle of the interstate. So to me, just looking at the items, it appears that erosion control will be a big factor on this project. There's a note in there that you have to have a erosion control crew on site at all times. Not sure if that will go DBE or not, but it's a really good opportunity for somebody to do that. Solid sod, grassing, silt fence, wattles. The erosion control possibly, and it could carry the whole DB obligation on that project. So the erosion control guys really need to look at this one. The Southwest region down here is serious about erosion control, and they'll utilize it every day on something. So it'll be a big project for erosion control. It also has a culvert, 2 culvert extensions, nothing huge, but still a sizable amount of money. And then it's also a big guardrail project. There's existing barrier cable rail that was installed years ago, and all that cable rail's coming out, and new guardrails going in. So I just think my initial bracket on guardrail that I was looking at is let's see, about $200,000, with erosion control being almost $500,000. So those are 2 big items for DBEs that I hope they really look at it, because that's where it's more than likely the DBE participation is going to come from. So that's where we need it. Other than that, that's really all I have. There's 2 bridges in the state, Lawrence and Green. I believe you Lawrence, and those are smaller 2% DBE goals, but they're still sizable jobs. Lawrence is $3.5 to $4 million project with 2% goal. So those offer some participation also. So really, that's about all I got. We look forward to getting some quotes on Mobile County. The Baldwin County project, like I said, it's a bridge project. It's a lot of grading on it. Erosion control, again, a little bit of concrete, but these erosion control subs down here or anywhere in the state really need to look at both of these projects, specifically Mobile, I believe. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you so much, Sean. We really appreciate it. DBEs, you heard what the prime contractors need on those jobs. So if you work in those work types, I would definitely get your bids in. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mr. Whitman.
Sure.
Next, we have Deborah Mcgee. She is with the Alabama Career Center. She works out of the Huntsville office. They have offices all over the state. And she is going to share a little bit about some on-the-job training programs that are available through the Career Center. So, Ms. Mcgee, I will just let you take over and tell us about these OJT projects.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Deborah Mcgee. I work here at the Huntsville Career Center. I'm one of the BSRs, or business services reps. The on-the-job training program is part of the Workforce Innovations and Opportunities Act. It's commonly known as WIOA. Under WIOA, you can do 2 things. You can go to school or some sort of training. If you're eligible, we'll pay for it. Or you can do the on-the-job training, which if your new hire is eligible, we will actually reimburse you 50% of their wages for a certain period of time. And a lot of that's going to depend on their resume, as in comparing it to the job description, whether we think that they need 400 hours, 600, 800, all the way up to 1,000 hours, depending on how complex it is. There are two types. One is the new hire, where they have to, both of these, they have to be new. They cannot be already on your payroll. The new hire type is you can add one, and then later on we can modify it. You can add another, and you bill monthly for these, or we invoice monthly. The performance-based is, say you need 15 people to train as, I don't know, heavy equipment. Let's just say that they've got the basics, but they need heavy equipment. So maybe we'll do like 15 of them for 400 hours. And what happens is you keep up with their hours. And at the end of those 400 hours, as they finish, you turn them in and we reimburse you for a flat rate. And I'm not sure how they really figure it. That's more Randy Henshaw's department. He works with a lot of the contracts, but it's more of a flat rate as they finish. So there's two different ways you can go. So for this is, okay, so this is for the new hire. You identify which ones you want to train. If they're eligible, well, you can send them to me. We've got a customer information form. If you're interested in them, send that to me. With that and a resume, I can basically pretty much look over it real quick and tell you if they're eligible. If not, I may need a few more things from the participant to decide. I'll need a training plan, and we've kind of got a form we use, and we can pull that from the job description, or we can pull it off of the ONET online. And the job descriptions, you can do, like it says, 1 to 25 trainees. And like I said, we kind of add those as we go, where it says slots can be added. Again, that's 400 to 1,000 hours, depending on their experience in the job complexity. The contract has to be approved before they can start. If they start before it's approved, we can't bill. And with the wage cap of 1966, so if you want to pay them 1966, we can pay 50% of that. If you want to pay them $25 an hour, we can still only pay half of 1966. That's what they have said the wage cap is going to be for any job. Just like I said, you invoice monthly. So what we do is we'd send you an Excel spreadsheet. You keep track of their hours, they would sign, and then anyone you designate as supervisor can sign. And you get reimbursed at 50%, straight across. The performance-based, what we do is we set up a contract and we give a certain number. So we don't have to know who they are. We just fill them as you want to go. So we usually get a letter, and we have to send that in with the contract, and it explains what you need. So that's how they decide, I guess, on how many hours it's in the rate. So group of trainees in one job category, a lot of them refer to them as cohorts. So we're going to have to bring in 10 production people or 10 material handlers, and then that's where we go from there. The people can be skilled or unskilled, but there has to be a skills gap. I mean, so even if you're trying to bring in an entry-level engineer fresh out of school, they've got school knowledge, but they don't have real-world work knowledge. So you've still got to train them. As long as we can get their eligibility done and they determine they are eligible, you can hire them. Like I said, we're only going to pay up to half of the 1966. The cost and wages and the hours are negotiated by usually Randy. I don't have much to do with that at all, between Randy and the powers that be. like I said, you get reimbursed after the completion of their training, and then that's when we turn in all the timesheets. And they always want a pay stub from the beginning and from the end, showing that you started paying them the wage that agreed in, and you finished up paying them for that, especially if they're not there to sign their last timesheet. Reimbursement is negotiated. It's a flat rate, like I said, and you can tailor that training. Like they may have a general type of machine they use, but say you're doing something special and it's a different kind of machine. It may be specific to your company. So then that may add to the hours, and we can tailor it specifically to that. It's not general. And once again, this contract would have to be approved before they can start work. In order for us to get started and write the contract, to send it down to get it, we used to be able to get it pre-approved. I'm not sure what's going on with that now. They're changing everything this year, and I don't think they can really decide on what they want to do yet. We would need a copy of your workman's comp. If you're a small company, like only a couple employees, you don't have to have workman's comp. We can take what I like to refer to as the slip and fall insurance. You have to enroll in the E-Verify program. The Memorandum of Understanding is usually about 16 pages, but we need the first page, and I think it's the last 4 that describes your business and the stuff that's gone in that you've entered. Again, it has to be approved before they can start, and it has to be full-time or with the intent of keeping them full-time permanent. Sometimes, you know, COVID hits, they have to go down to limited hours. That we understand. The only exception we can make to this is if it's someone with a disability and they can only work part-time. That's the only exception. Again, you can recruit them, or you can contact me and I can send you resumes. We'd have to know before we bring them in to do the paperwork if they're eligible or not, which means I could call them, or you could put them on the phone with me, or we could try to set them up so they can come down here, depending on how quickly we need to go. They have to receive the exact same wages and benefits as other people. So just because you're getting reimbursed for half doesn't mean you can pay these people $12.50, whereas you're only paying everybody else $10. Same company policies and everything. These are your employees. You have the contract with us. They have the contract. You know, you're their employees. And they cannot replace laid off workers. So if you had a big layoff, you have to make sure you bring those people back, or whoever wants to come back, before you hire. You know, they can't be the scabs crossing the line type of thing. So again, the wage reimbursement cap up to 1966 will pay half of that. They say that the reimbursement cap for employers is $50,000 per program year. Our program year runs from July 1st to June 30th. Sometimes we can make exceptions to that $50,000. This year, we're kind of running on a limited budget, so I don't know what they're going to do. We're just going to keep adding them until they tell us to stop. That's pretty much about it for the OJT. That was just an overview. There are a couple different funding streams we can use, but the eligibility will change. The other things we can do is I can screen them and refer them to you. I can send you resumes. You're welcome to schedule a job fair and come in here, and we'll post it on Facebook and see if we can get interested applicants to come on in here. They do have kind of like a fast response type team that assists with closings and layoffs. So we'll go in and we'll explain to them what's happening, how we can help set it up. You know, you can come in and use our computers for job search. And then we have the labor market information where they could come in, and we have a flyer that gives out like the hottest jobs in the area and what they're paying in case they really don't know what they want to go into. And once again, we have the office equipment, resource room, conference rooms, whatever you need to use to get those people hired.
Okay. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions for Deborah? Okay, if not, I guess that since I'm seeing the slide that says see you next month.
We have a question from Jerry Jehan.
Oh, okay.
Do you have contact information so we can reach out to you on the career training? Will you post that here?
Jerry, where are you located in the state? Are you in South Alabama?
Yes.
Okay, Deborah, correct me if I'm wrong. He would need to go through his career center there.
Yes, the local career center.
Okay.
Would that be Mobile or would that be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that information readily available? Just look it up under Career Center Mobile and it would come up?
It should pop up. That particular information that I gave you wouldn't. You need to ask to speak to their BSR, and then they would have all that. And there's also information under, it's the Alabama Workforce type website. They've got one out. And so there's a lot of information under there on the different types too. But yeah, I'll see if I can get you that information real quick for the different career centers. I have a list here somewhere.
Okay, Deborah, if you will send that to Christine, since you guys coordinated your presentation today, then we can pass that on to Jerry.
Will do.
Okay, thank you so much. Supportive services, do you guys have anything on your calendars in the next month or so that you want to highlight?
A&M does not have anything coming up in the next month, but just a heads up, in September, we will be having, the end of September, we will start this year's Turner School of Construction Management, and applications for that will go out in August. So Ms. Ronica or Ms. Christine will send you the flyer for that and next month, and so we'll go from there.
Okay,
Also,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Ms. Ronica, in the beginning, there was a slide for Jefferson County. It was a 6%.
Yes.
Would you be able to like either bring that one back up or send that to me?
I absolutely can send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Be glad to. Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
UAW has no plans for August, no training plans for August.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.